Hi, I'm Ken Boxer, and Tai Babilonia and I want to invite you to watch Santa Barbara's only locally produced entertainment talk show, Ken Boxer Live. Join me and Tai each week as we interview the newsmakers of our day, right here every Thursday night at 10, and then rebroadcasting every day of the week on TVSB Channel 17. Of course, you can catch us on YouTube as well. Now remember to watch Ken Boxer Live.
And local television doesn't get any better.
That's right.
From the American Riviera in Santa Barbara, California, it's Ken Boxer Live with your host, Ken Boxer, and co-host, two-time Olympian Tai Babilonia. Please welcome Ken and Tai.
Another great audience. Wow.
You need a bigger studio.
We need a
Or
bigger
more
studio.
chairs.
Absolutely bigger studio.
Great.
Look at this. Welcome and welcome all of you at home. I'm Ken Boxer, and let me introduce you, as I always do, to my very talented and lovely co-host. She's not only the two-time Olympian, but she's also the five-time national champion, as well as a world champion figure skater, Tai Babilonia. Tai, we have a wonderful show tonight in store for everybody. In the 60s, Gilligan's Island.
Absolutely.
Were you a fan?
I'm absolutely a fan. I found some great photos of Dawn Wells on the internet, and I posted on Facebook and on Twitter, and the men go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
She was the favorite. It wasn't Ginger, it was Marianne. They just, because I think she's so approachable and wholesome, they love her. And she is here tonight.
And we're so delighted.
I'm so excited.
Let the audience know.
So don't go away. We will be right back with Dawn Wells.
Yes.
Girl power!
Thank you.
Ken Boxer Live is brought to you in part by Harborview Inn. Welcome to Santa Barbara's premier 4-diamond luxury boutique oceanfront hotel. American Riviera Bank, smart banking for smart people. And by the Eagle Inn, a family-owned hotel near the beach in Santa Barbara. Now back to Ken Boxer Live.
And welcome back. Okay, joining us this evening is the very talented actress Dawn Wells. Now, many of you will remember Dawn from her portrayal of the character Marianne from the iconic television series Gilligan's Island. Dawn is also an accomplished actress in motion pictures and on the theatrical stage. She's also a very successful author, having published several books. So let's now welcome the former Miss Nevada and the actress, listen to this, the actress ranked by TV Guide as one of the 50th sexiest stars of all time. Dawn Wells, everybody. Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
My mother would be embarrassed by that comment.
Oh, I got to tell you something. Ladies, is she not gorgeous? Goddamn gorgeous.
Beautiful. Thank you. It's all
Okay.
paint.
Okay.
You
Well,
can do it at home. It's just all paint.
oh gosh. First time in Santa Barbara?
No, I mean, it's my first time where I've really spent the night here. I live in Los Angeles, so I come and visit a lot.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the show and
Yeah.
to Santa
Thank
Barbara.
you.
Welcome back, I should say. I always like to ask, prior to fame, let's go back. Where were you? Were you from Idaho?
No, I'm from Nevada.
Okay, where'd I get Idaho?
Reno. Well, because I ran a film actors boot camp in Idaho.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Western girl. I'm a fourth generation from Reno. My great-great-grandfather drove stagecoach during the gold rush.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a Western girl.
Well, let's talk about high school days. Were you involved with theater then?
No, I tried out for play. I didn't get cast. I was a debater. What things I talk about in my book. Why I think the way I do, because in debate you have to take both sides and you draw the straw at the end. You don't know whether you're pro or against or whatever. And I analyze my life that way. It's very interesting to see. No, I wanted to be a ballerina. I wanted to do what you do with
That's
ice
right.
skating.
Oh.
Very similar to what
yeah.
I would imagine Ty would have to do in terms
because
of...
it's also beautiful and graceful. But my
Ballet.
knees dislocate, so I can't do it. I've never
In ballet or when you skated?
in ballet. I did a rangete and landed right on my face.
Oh,
My
ouch.
knee went out, so I had to give that up.
Right, right.
No luck there.
Okay, but somehow you parlayed going from high school to
I went to Stevens College, which is an all-women's college. I was majoring in chemistry, wanted to be a pediatric surgeon. And after, I couldn't take any PE after canoeing and archery, that's all I could do. So I took a theater class. And my professor said, "You're good at this, you ought to major in it." I went, "What?" I've been an out-of-work actor my whole life. So I gave it a year. I went to University of Washington, majored with pre-med and theater. And when I graduated, I thought I'll give it 1 year. And I decided Los Angeles was better than New York because I can't carry a tune. Most of the stuff was musical comedy. And I went to work right away. I was well
Commercials?
trained.
Did you do commercials? and-
No, mostly I was under option to Warner Brothers. All the
Whoa.
Maverick and Hawaii and I and all that kind of stuff I did to begin with.
Right.
Then you have a piece of film on you, and somebody can
Exactly.
see what you could do. Now you can
Right.
tape it and show it to somebody, but you had to wait 6 or 8 weeks before it came on the air. And I found out I blinked incessantly because of the lights. It's totally different than stage, and I just was lucky.
well, where did the Miss Nevada come in?
Oh, that wasn't. Well, I was.
Oh, that.
I mean, you were in the
that,
you were in
little
the Miss,
thing.
that little thing.
you
Well,
were
there's
in the
only 3
Miss-
girls in the whole state
what
of
did that
Nevada.
mean?
I mean, there's 1,000 girls competing for Miss California.
But you also were in the. If once you get to Miss Nevada, you then
Miss
are
America
Miss America.
pageant, yeah. And in that day and age, Miss America couldn't have been a Miss Nevada when we have legal prostitution and divorce and gambling. I mean, what? Right up your alley, I guess. I don't know.
Ding, ding, ding.
But when they asked me to run for it, I thought, that's so silly. I'm so short and all of that. Let me just see if I can get up in front of all those people and do a scene, to see as an actress would that work. And it was a wonderful experience. It was scholarships to young women all over the country. It's so different now. It's all beauty and everything.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really wasn't
Right.
then. You couldn't wear, you couldn't have your hair dyed, all that stuff.
Right, right.
Right, and
yeah, very
and
different
Also,
now.
a lot of the women are enhancements all over the place, right?
Now I don't know whether they check for that anymore. I don't know.
So wait, Bert Parks was the MC.
MC.
Wow.
And Mitch Miller, do you remember who Mitch
Of
Miller
course,
was?
sing along with Mitch.
Yeah.
Sing along. Well, the judges would go from one table to the other, and all the girls would sit there, and the judges would move. And there were 6 or 8 of us at this table. You couldn't even talk to a bellman. You couldn't speak to boys at all. You had a chaperone with you the whole time. And Mitch Miller sat down with his little goatee and started interviewing us, and he had scrambled eggs in his beard.
And you still
And
remember
we
that?
all just answered the questions and smiled, and just kept, bouncing in his beard.
Funny.
Wow.
So how did you have to audition for Gilligan's Island?
Oh, yeah.
Long audition, a lot of
no,
girls.
I
for that
actually, yeah, but I've been working quite a bit, and
Right.
there were 3 replacements. The pilot was made, but the professor and the 2 girls were changed. They rewrote something. They were all school teachers or something. So then they interviewed us, and I tested at CBS Studio Center with about 300 people
Okay.
to get the 3 of us, Ginger, Professor, and Marianne, the chemistry. Ginger was cast in New York. The professor and I auditioned in Los Angeles.
Well, did you know at that time the chemistry was going to work? Because boy, did it work.
Oh, it's perfect.
You don't know that. You really don't know that. And it isn't just the writing, it's the chemistry between the people. And it's just so awful when you see a show going and one of the actors gets bored with it and bad raps everybody, and you see that animosity on the screen. We
that
all
happen?
loved each other, not with us.
No.
We all loved each other. And everybody was really good at what they did, I think.
Right.
How many episodes was Gilligan? Do you know?
98.
That's it. You
98.
would think
That's
there was
it? That's-
hundreds.
oh.
if not
Well,
thousands.
that's only a 3-year run, too. We've never been off the air since 1964.
And congratulations,
Love that.
50 years.
50 years. I was only 12 then. Just in case you're counting.
Do the math.
Do the math.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
No, and they didn't think it was going to last 20 minutes, I can't go anywhere in the world. I have 2 real quick stories. One, we were in production for about 6 weeks, and Sherwood Schwartz brought the Coast Guard in, all the big mucky mucks in the Coast Guard, and they stopped filming and said captain or general or whatever he was, has something to say to you. He said, we have received, 10 telegrams saying there are 7 people marooned in the Pacific Ocean. Why can't you find them? Honest to God, it tells you how everybody believed what they were seeing. I mean, it's really true. And then I'm in the Solomon Islands. My knees dislocate, so I'm not an athlete. But several of my friends, we've been to the Rwanda gorilla climb, and we were in the Solomon Islands where no white women have ever been before, and we were canoeing up to this island where no running water, no electricity, the chief's family they were doing little war dances from us, and the chief's wife went, I know you. In the middle of it, no running water, no electricity, the Pacific Ocean. She said, I came home from nursing school in 1979 and used to watch you in black and white. Now, in the middle of nowhere. So
That's the power of TV.
That's a great
But I don't know
story.
this England people. Now, wait a minute. There were three. Germany didn't have much of a sense of humor either. Your British humor is very different. It's very witty and not as silly as we were.
So what question do you get asked the most about the show? Or what's the silliest question?
Oh, I don't know about this. There's always a thing about you and the professor. They always talk about that, you know, because we were and the rest. We still send each other cards
right.
saying love the rest for a
In
long
fact,
time.
you said earlier before we went on the air that your name got the professor and Marianne was on the second season.
Second season. We
That
were
they
just
put-
the top 5, and then we were.
You became so popular. In fact, you ask any one of the gentlemen in our audience, they're going to tell you. And I know you've had to deal with this for 50
It's
some
just
years
so
now.
hard dealing with
What a
this.
drag.
The question is always. it's
Because she'd
always
have been your best friend.
Ginger or Marianne.
Yeah, Ginger.
Come on, am I just right? Of course, right?
Well,
How did you have for 50 years? Ginger or Marianne?
But
Because
you
you're approachable.
yeah, and you'd had to be a grown-up to take Ginger out. You know, I mean, you'd had to buy her martini.
Ginger was on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and she was
with
gorgeous.
that gown.
You
yeah.
and Tina Louise must talk about that over the years, right?
No,
Never do?
Oh,
Never do?
no.
I'm
I shall leave it at that.
Let's just
No.
leave it at that.
We
Just-
don't talk about that.
it's
No,
just that
she was a big
you
movie
must
star.
get a kick out of that, though, right?
Well,
Hearing that.
I get a kick out of it because I always win.
There you go. Absolutely.
no competition.
Let's,
It is, because it's a different thing. She was glamorous and beautiful, and I'd have been
Right.
your best friend and, you know, cooked and cleaned and gone to prom with you. That's basically it.
And you got the most attention.
I don't know if I can say this on the air, but Nick Nolte, I was interviewing him for a role in Australia. I was interviewing him for something, and he said, I just have to tell you, you got me through puberty in the nicest of ways.
on that note,
That's a nice thing.
That is nice.
let's watch a brief clip of Gilligan's Island and Don Wells. Let's watch it.
See how young I used to be.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough, the tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. The ship's aground on the shore of this uncharted desert isle, with Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, the professor and Marianne, here on Gilligan's Island.
Okay, Marianne, it's agreed. We'll pool our ideas and we'll split the $1 million. Oh, and I have a wonderful idea for Mr. Howell's rescue. Oh, so have I. What's yours? What's yours? You go first. We'll have a big, noisy musical comedy show, and I'll wear one of those skimpy little costumes, and that's sure to attract any airline pilot that's passing overhead. You're kidding. They fly at 20,000 feet. Well, so what? When it comes to girls in skimpy costumes, airline pilots have a radar. I think it's silly. You do? Yes. Besides, listen to my idea. We'll catch some fish, we'll write messages on their side with waterproof paint, and then we'll release them. Well, some fisherman somewhere is bound to catch one of them, and the messages will get back to civilization. Talk about silly ideas. The only one who'll get those messages are the other fish. I think your idea is for the birds. I think we better work on our ideas separately. Well, that suits me fine. Skimpy costumes with airline pilots, fish.
It's our guest this half hour. Welcome back. You just joining us.
I don't remember that at all.
That's so funny.
Not at all. I don't
Nothing.
remember that scene at all.
We were talking back in the makeup room. Barbara Eden had this restriction with her belly button. And I know you have a great story.
Yeah,
So
I
it's-
couldn't show my belly
Well,
button
tell
either.
who Barbara Eden is. Some people may not know.
I
who-
do.
Oh,
Dream
Barbara,
of Jeannie?
I Dream of Jeannie. Sorry, with her little midriff. So, and there were rules that you couldn't show.
Couldn't show my navel, couldn't
your
show
navel.
Tina's cleavage for more than 3
Ah.
seconds an episode. And Sherwood's wife, Sherwood was our producer, his wife would say, well, how was your day, dear? Oh, between Dawn's navel and Ginger's cleavage, I was on the set half the time trying to cover it up. But I'll tell you something, Barbara and I were good friends when our shows were both picked up. And I would come home with the body makeup up, you know, my legs, my bare midriff, everything. And you get out of the shower and there'd be still some makeup on your back or whatever.
Right.
And I said, Barbara, I'm so excited, they're putting me in long Levi's. And she said, don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. The shorts are your trademark.
Oh, interesting.
Just take care of getting the body makeup off and don't be lazy.
And speaking
Right.
of that outfit, I'd read, and we talked about this, that it was up for auction at one point.
Yep, yep.
And the
I've still got them in my
Smithsonian
drawer.
has it.
Smithsonian wants them. When I
The
die,
short,
maybe the shorts, yeah.
But you had.
They're about this big.
She
They're-
designed. Did you know Dawn designed her little hot pants?
Well, and it was the first short shorts on television,
Yeah.
and What's Her Face did the Daisy Dukes later, but that's just cut off Levi's. And I'm short and I'm round and I'm always worried about my weight, so I dipped them down on the side and brought them up on the legs, so my legs would look longer and my torso would look longer. And we were just talking about the fabric was soft,
Right.
so I could make little darts instead of pockets. in
Thank
the
God
back.
for darts.
Thank God for darts.
It's all about the
Well,
dart.
we'll come back to Gilligan's Island, but I wanted to tell people that you also, as I mentioned in the intro, were very sought after on the theatrical stage. You had a show at MGM. You're on Broadway. as
No,
well.
no, I didn't do Broadway. No,
Really?
I've just
Oh, I
done millions
missed it.
of theaters everywhere, but no, I've never been
You've
on
done
Broadway.
over 100 shows.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I have.
All around the country.
Yeah, I'm going into Love, Lost, and What I Wore in Laguna Beach.
Oh, that's
Last
great.
weekend in May. I do a lot. That's where I was trained. That's what I like most. Lion in
stage.
Winter, 2 summers ago. I mean, I can do more than Marianne. Really, I can.
In fact,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit.
I'm Mrs.
the
Howell
book.
by now,
and a
actually.
book.
Aw.
Let's talk
book.
this book. We have this book that tell us about this book that just was published. Correct?
Just was published. And the reason I published it was with the members in the audiences, like you say, that Marianne was your favorite. Why? What is it about her? And what have we done about that today? I mean, when we grew up, there wasn't even birth control when we went on the air. So look how far
Right.
we've come or gone or whatever you want to say. It'd be hard to raise kids today. It'd be very difficult. They're all doing this in their rooms. There's no communication with the family because they've all got their little electronics. And I think we've lost sight of, you know,
The
finishing
innocent-
the job
yeah.
and being polite and all those things.
Well, the
We've lost
innocence is gone.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see it in sports.
that. You do. You same thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And I think it's a guide to
morals.
life, just saying, what would you do today? What would Marianne
it's a
do
great
today?
idea, Dawn.
Where
Yeah.
can people get the book?
Well, dawnwells.com is my website, and you might try Amazon. Barnes & Noble was sold out the last time I was there, but it's a good book, and it's good to give to your teenagers or a Mother's Day present. It's a good
Great
book.
idea.
And you've also wrote a cookbook years ago.
I did that
And
years
that
ago,
was
and
very
I've got one
successful.
coming out next summer too. Good old home cooking. I'm a real good cook, so
Yeah. What's the meal that's your the standout?
Italian. I'm Italian.
Really?
I don't even want to tell you the things we used to eat, you know. Everybody goes, ew, are you kidding? Kidneys and lung and bear and elk.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, see, I'm not a gourmet cook. I'm just a good cook.
But you're on the tour. I've heard that you go to signings, autograph signings from time to time. I mean, you're in such demand all the time.
Well, you know, when it grows, I think, because it's your childhood here, now that you're all grown up, and it's your memories that are so strong that now there's so much on the air to watch. You know,
There's
only
too much on the air
there
to
is,
watch.
isn't it?
Well, do you think,
Yeah.
based on what you said before, maybe this is not true, but do you think if Gilligan's Island were produced today, it would be as successful as it was in the 60s?
Well, it's a different thing. It's like, is Charlie Chaplin still, you know, relative? I think the cast was outstanding. I think the comedy between us all was outstanding. Everybody had their own signature about something. It wasn't wit. It wasn't like Frasier, where everything is written so beautifully. I think it was the chemistry, and I don't know, Robinson Crusoe was always kind of everybody's favorite. I don't
Right.
know whether it would or
Right.
not. I don't know.
Well, I'm so glad it's still on every day so we can watch it.
Well, it's great to raise your kids with. It's great to have the whole
Absolutely.
family watch.
But
and-
we have another clip, and it's funny that when Tai posted on Facebook that you were coming, people started talking about the Honeybees. An episode
right.
was the Honeybees. So
The girl group.
what was that all about? Because we're about to see a clip
Well,
from
we
that.
had musicians that sailed on and sailed off, and they didn't know where they were. I don't remember why we started the band. I don't remember what that was about. I think the mosquitoes were on there, and they were getting ready to leave, and we thought if we were in competition, I don't know what the plot was. There was never a
It doesn't
plot
matter.
to begin with.
But let's watch.
It's a great
Let's
clip.
watch Dawn Wells as the honeybee.
And watch Mrs. Howell; she's hysterical.
The Honeybees.
You need us. You need us. Like a clam needs a shell. Like a prisoner needs a cell. Like a ding dong needs a bell. You need us. You need me. You need me. Like a baby needs a toy. Like Hawaiians need their boy. Like a girlie needs a boy. You need me. You need us.
Dawn Wells, top.
What is your most memorable episode? Do you have one? Mm-hmm. Which one?
Well, there was an episode with the lion towards the last of the last season, and the trainer who was training the lion, who brought the lion, has all got claw marks all over him. Who knows what happened long ago? But the lion, great big lion with a mane, with just a rope around his neck. Just a rope around his
Right.
neck. And the cats sleep most of the daytime. Bob and I wanted to pet the lion. The trainer said, don't pet the lion, because if you do this, he thinks you're a fly, and he's liable to take your hand off. And Bob and I would go and try to pet him, and the lion would be sleeping. And we worked, Mrs. Howell was very afraid. She wouldn't let the lion be behind her or anything. It was the last shot of the day on a Friday night, and the lion at about 5 o'clock started to pace back and forth, back and forth. And the scene was, here's the hut. The camera crew was the fourth wall. Bob was supposed to run in the hut, board the hut up, and realize the lion is sitting on the bed. So it's 7 o'clock at night, the last shot of the day. Here's the camera crew, here's Bob. He runs in, boards it up, supposedly, looks down, and the lion is right across, and the lion leaped for him.
Oh dear.
And the prop man had forgotten to tie the beds together, the twin beds together.
Right.
So since they weren't tied together, they split. And the lion lost his balance. And it's as close as I am to you. And Bob was going, I mean, he was going to give him a karate chop. He was going to try to hit the lion between the eyes. But they were managed to get the rope. But it was only 5 feet. Had the bed not split, I don't think Bob would have been here. That's how dangerous it was.
Wow.
So that I remember more than anything.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's intense.
What about, you were talking about the characters, the actors, I should say. Russell Johnson, Alan Hale. I've read that you had a real affinity with Alan Hale.
Well, Alan was the same size as my dad, and he picked me up in one arm and Ginger up in the other arm, and every time he hugged me. And he was a good cook, and he played golf not very far from me, so he'd stop by and we'd share recipes coming and going, and every time he hugged me, it was like hugging my father.
Yeah, and Russell Johnson just recently passed away.
I know, he
not
was
too
the
long
last
ago.
one to go last year. He and I were very close because we were And the Rest, the first year.
Right.
So we signed And the Rest, Love And the Rest of cards for everybody. But he was very super. He was the funniest one off camera. He had the best sense of humor, and you would never know that.
Well, the cast, obviously, some of them we just mentioned has passed away, but anyone ever talking about putting you into another Gilligan's Island? Because I know you've done sequels since the
Yeah, but
Gilligan's
what would I
Island
be?
episodes.
I could be Mrs. Howell by now, couldn't I?
No
Lovey,
way.
I could be.
But you ever thought, has anyone ever approached you to do that, to do another
No.
a sequel?
Updated version.
No, and they
With-
keep talking
with the new
about
cast.
doing the movie too, but it's
Oh really?
there's a big conflict between who owns it.
Who doesn't? Who
Well,
else?
the Phil Silvers family and the Schwartz family both, and there's lots of kids saying it.
okay.
I don't know.
No, go ahead.
Oh,
Ty.
sorry. I know you just finished shooting a pilot. Mm-hmm. TV pilot.
Life Interrupted.
Okay.
It's kind of cute, actually.
And what's the
Well, it's
storyline?
It's a storyline. My daughter which is Allison Ingram, is married to a gentleman that's divorced, and I can't think of his name. Isn't that terrible? And they're divorced, and they're running a hotel and a bar and whatever. And I'm the landlady of this bar.
Okay.
I'm kind of got the hots for a cute little Mexican dishwasher.
Ooh
Ooh la la.
Okay. And isn't Brandon?
It's not a Marianne at all, is what it is.
Is Brandon Cruz? I mean, it's all past.
Brandon Cruz, yeah, he was there one day. Aaron
Right.
Murphy,
Right.
Michelle Leonard, Michael Leonard.
So all the past.
All the old folks that
Yeah.
are still all getting together.
That's great.
Mason Reese. Mason Reese was Allison Ingram's first husband, so to speak.
Okay.
It's funny. Steve
Okay.
Wishnoff directed it.
Oh, good.
I don't know
We have
whether
less
it ever
than a
gets
minute.
picked up.
I've got to ask
Less than
you
a
that.
minute.
Less
Okay.
than a minute, you can believe.
What? Gossip.
Is there anything more you still want to do?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're so busy.
I want to do a Broadway play. I've never done on Broadway.
For some reason, I thought you were on Broadway.
And I produce a lot. I've got a couple things in which I love. I love what you guys are doing here. I just think it's fabulous.
Thank you.
I do.
It's fun.
And thank you so much.
Thank you for
I
having
can't
me.
believe it went so quickly. The lovely John Wells. Yes. That's it. Well, that's our show for tonight. So don't miss our next show. Ty and I will like to welcome recording engineer and record producer Ken Calais. Ken is best known for producing the very successful Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, and Tusk albums. Again, that's producer Ken Calais on our next show. Okay, so for our guests, Don Wells and Tai Babilonia, and for our director, George Montalvo, and the entire KBL crew, I'm Ken Boxer. Good night, everybody, and thank you all.
Ken Boxer Live is brought to you by the following sponsors. American Riviera Bank, smart banking for smart people. Palazzo Restaurant, where people don't leave hungry or thirsty. Harborview Inn, welcome to Santa Barbara's premier 4-diamond luxury boutique oceanfront hotel. Wendy Foster, Santa Barbara and Montecito's premier clothing store. The Eagle Inn, a family-owned hotel near the beach in Santa Barbara. Via Rosa Inn, let us pamper you in international style. La Quinta Inn and Suites, conveniently located in downtown Santa Barbara. And by Taffy's Pizza, delivery, pickup, or dine in. Woody's Bodacious Barbecue, voted best barbecue in Santa Barbara for over 30 years. Santa Barbara Chicken Ranch, authentic Mexican style, mesquite barbecue. Santa Barbara Bar, finally, nutritious, tastes great. Country Catering, Meat Market, and Deli. Their food not only fills your plate, it nourishes the soul. Jack's Bagels and Bistro, serving the very best food in a friendly and relaxed atmosphere. Quality food and genuine drinks. Jill's Place, where the locals go to eat. Lito's Takeout, serving the best Mexican food for over 30 years. Sammy's Camera, new location at 530 State Street. Perfect Computers since 1990. The Ken Boxer Live musical theme by Mr. Michael J. Leslie. From all of us at Ken Boxer Live, I'm Baron Ron Heron. Good night, everyone.